Hello. So in the last video we saw linear search algorithm and binary search algorithm. If you haven't seen that video, you can visit my channel and see, or I will keep the link in the description. Today we are learning jump search algorithm. Jump search algorithm is it has the same requirement as binary search algorithm. It needs sorted array in the input. It works on that only. When jump search algorithm was developed by Ben Shneiderman in 1978, so he published a paper on jump search algorithm named as jump searching, a fast sequential search technique. I will also give a link to that paper, so if you want you can study the actual paper where it was developed. Okay, we'll move ahead and try and learn what is jump search algorithm exactly. It is also called as block search algorithm. What are the usage, when it is best to use jump search algorithm, the advantages, disadvantages, the complexity. We'll see everything one by one. Okay, the jump search algorithm basically works in one way. It checks fewer elements by jumping ahead. So in linear search algorithm, where we compare each element with the target that we are looking for, in this algorithm we jump few element ahead. So we can jump by fixed number of steps, or it can be variable based on the way we are implementing jump search algorithm. Okay, so it is better than linear search algorithm, obviously, because it is skipping some element, whereas linear searching is comparing all the elements. But it is less efficient than binary search, because in binary search in every iteration we skip half of the element. In this one we are not doing that. How exactly we do that? So for example, let's see, this is our input array of size 10. So basically we have index 0 to 9, we have these elements. The array size n is basically here 9. The block size m, let's say we start with the block size 2 for example. So what do? We first check the element at a0. So if we say m equal to 2, we'll check a0. A0 is 2. Before that we need to decide our target. So let's say our target that we are searching for in this example, it's 201, which is here. So first it will check a of 0, which is 2. Okay, so 2 is less than 201. It is. So we move ahead. Where do we go? As we have used the block size 2, we add plus 2. So we go a of 2. So a of 2 is 11. Is 11 equal to 201 or less than? It is less than 201. Okay, we'll move to the next block. We move to a of 4. We check here. Is it 21? It's less than that. We can't. If we move one more block, a of 6, we see it's 101. It's less than 201. No. We move to the next block, a of 8. We find 201. Okay, we found our answer. So we return 8, the index we found our value at. The number of comparisons we did is 5. 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. Okay, so basics of jump search algorithm is that much. It's simply a linear search algorithm where we have added a twist. Rather than comparing all elements, we jump by some value. So in this case, we took the value 2, we compared 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. So what if, let's say if you are finding 107, if the target is 107 in this case, we'll start with m equal to 2. We'll check 0, 2, 4, 6, 101 is less than 107. We move ahead, we get to a of 8, we find 201. Okay, so when the moment we find that a of 8 is 201, which is more than our target we are looking for, then we decide the block. So the last block we checked was a of 6. In a of 8 we found the value 201, which is more than our target value. The value that we are looking for must be in this block then. More than 6 but less than 8. So in this case, because we have taken block size of 2 only, so we have only one element here, that is 7, index 7. We check here. If you find the value 107, good, we return the index 7. But what if you were looking for target, let's say 106? In that case, 106, we get the block size 6 to 8, that okay, the 106 is less than 201, so it must be between 6 to 8. Then we check 6 to 8 one by one. So basically we check 7 and then 8 we obviously check with 7. Okay, 107, it's not 106, so we say -1, we did not find the element. Okay, what if we keep m equal to, let's say, 4? So if we keep m equal to 4 and we try and find the same element 201 with m equal to 4, then we compare a of 0, then a of 4, then a of 8, then we don't have a of 12, so we stop here. Okay, so a of 0, it's less than 201, so we move ahead. A of 4, it's less than. A of 8 is 201, we give here. For 107, when we reach a of 0, a of 4, then a of 8, a of 4, 21 is less than 107, so we'll move ahead. A of 8, 201 is it's more than 107, so we know that our value must be in the block 4 to 8. So in this particular block 4 to 8, now we know the value must be there. If it is present, it must be here only. So starting from the last block that we had, we perform a linear search. So we'll check at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of them. So we find 107 at 7 and return 7. If you're looking for any other value, let's say 103, so that is not present in this list and we will not get the value and we'll return -1. So jump search is basically we are skipping some element to find the block in which block our value is and then performing linear search in that block. So jump search is basically a twist in a linear search algorithm. But here we need to think, if we decide that we keep the m equal to what value, how do we know what should we keep? Like if we keep m equal to 1, then it is a linear search algorithm, we are comparing all the values. If we keep m equal to 2, we are using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comparisons. But if we kept m equal to 4, in this case here, we had only 3 comparisons. So what is the best way? Should we use 2 or should we use 4 or maybe 5? Or maybe we can keep the block size as 6. How do we decide what is the best size to keep of the block so the searching can be more efficient? Okay, for that we need to understand this point. How many comparisons we are making and how can we minimize that? So if we have this array and with this let's say the size is n, starting from 0 to n, we divide it into multiple blocks. So let's say the size of block is m. Once we discover the block, let's say it is this block that we have found, the element must be in this block, then we perform the linear search. So the number of comparisons we are performing here is basically m minus 1. So if the block size is 5, so we'll have to make at least 4 comparisons to know which element we are looking for, if it is there or not. So we'll have one comparison to do here to decide the block that we are looking for. So basically if we have n elements and the size is m, so n by m comparison needs to be done to identify the block that we are looking for. Then after we got that, we need m minus 1 elements to look for the exact position. So basically number of comparisons we are making is n by m plus m minus 1. So we have to minimize this expression such that the number of comparisons are minimized. How do we decide the value of m here? So in the example I took, let's say if n is 9 and we go for m equal to 2. So if m equal to 2, we'll get 9 by 2 plus 2 minus 1, which is 4.5 plus 1, which is 5.5. What if we go m equal to, let's say, 4? We double the value. 9 by 4 plus 4 minus 1, that will be 2.25 plus 3, which is 5.25. Okay, so when we increase the value, the number of comparisons reduced. What if I go m equal to 5? So 9 by 5 plus 5 minus 1, which is 9 by 5 is 1.8 plus 4. Okay, we get 5.8. Oh no, the value is increased again. So how do we decide the value? Let's see the point where it is was decreasing and then increased. So basically if you are moving more than 4, it is increasing. If you are going less, it is also increasing. If m equal to 3, we decide 9 plus 3, 3 minus 1, there should be 3 plus 2, which is 5. The lowest value we got in all these 4 is there with m equal to 3. If we solve this mathematically, then also we can find that this expression will be minimum when m is equal to root of n. So basically if n is 9, we need the root of n, that is 3. 3 will be the optimum size as a block size to find the best case. So to minimize the number of comparison, the best choice we have to keep the block size m as root n. That would be the best case. If needed, you can comment down how to actually mathematically find m is equal to root n, how to minimize the expression. We can do that separately, but that is not, the mathematics is not needed here, so I will skip that part. Okay, so the next part we move to is the algorithm. So how exactly we are solving this? So in iterative approach, how do we do that? So basically we have array and the target. First what we do, we take an n as an integer, which is the length of array. Then we take two variables, step and previous. We both assign them as 0. So what we need to do, first we need to identify the block where exactly my element is. So how do we do that? What we check is the first value, we have to check as 0. So we take the minimum of 0, the step that we have, that is 0, comma, n minus 1, the last element that we are checking. So n will be here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The length is 10. So what we do with 0, comma, 9. So 0 is minimum, so we check the 0th first. That's 2. So let's solve for the same value that we were doing, 107. With the m, the step that we have taken, basically, the step is basically the m, the block size we have taken here. That will be square root of n. So it is eventually going to be, this value is going to be 3. So we start with 0, we compare the 0th. Is it less than target? It is. So what we do, we assign step to prev, and then we add the square root of n, that is 3. So step is 0, then the value is changed to 3. We have to use a terminating condition in case our previous value is exceeding the length of the array. Then we have moved past and the element is not available, so we return -1, that the element is not present. That would be this case. The step value is then 0 plus 3 is now 3, and the n minus 1 is 9. So we compare 3 and 9, minimum is 3. We move to third. So basically 0, 1, 2, 3, if we assign the index to all the elements, we move to third element, we compare 17. 17 is less than 107, the target we're looking for, yes. So we move to the next step. We again add 3. So move to 6, we compare 6. Okay, if 6 is less than 107, it is. So move to next element, that is 2, 1, 3. So we add step 2, 1, 3. When we reach here, the step size, basically the value of step is 9. This is also 9. So it doesn't matter which value you take. The minimum it will take step as the function works. It will compare, it is less than target. Okay, it is less than target is 107. We are at 2 and 3. So it is less than the target we're looking for. Okay, so it will move ahead. This while block code is done. It will move to the next part. At this point, what is the value of prev? The prev will be 6, because we assigned it to here and then we added the value. Okay, so the prev is 6. So we have decided the value must be here. The prev is pointing at this spot and the step is pointing here. So basically we have found a block. Our value must be in this block. We have the prev as well as step to design the lower and higher end of the box. Okay, so what we do, we move ahead. We see if the value at the previous is less than target. Okay, it is. Then we add prev plus plus. Move to the next value. We need a terminating condition here also. What if the element is not present in the entire block and we have reached the end of block? So if we reach the end of block, that means the element is not present in the block. So how do we check that? We take the minimum of the step that we have, that is 9, and the n. So either if it is the last block, in that case sometimes step could be 12 and but the length is only 9. So in that case we need to make sure that we have reached the end. So we take minimum step command, whichever is the minimum. If we reach that point, it means we have finished the block and we could not find the element, so we return -1, that is the element is not present. And if the element is present, so it won't be less than target, it will be equal or more, then we go is equal to target. So if it is equal to the target that we're looking for, we return the previous. This is the success case, the present. Other than this, all these cases, final case, that is element is not present. So let's say for 107, so basically we start with 0, then 3, then 6. The previous is 6, step in this case here is 9. So we'll look for 6 is less than target, it is. Then we go 7, 7 is less than target, no, the block is changed. The priv is at 7, we compare with the target. Is it 107? Yeah, it's equal, we return the priv. If we search for any other element, it will not match and it will return -1 finally here. So this is how that iterative approach of jump search algorithm works. Okay, so what is the endpoint? What are the things that we need to remember for the jump search algorithm? We need to remember these few things. The optimal block size in jump search algorithm is root n. The time complexity is based on that only, the number of comparisons we make. So basically n by m plus m minus 1 comparisons are there, where m is replaced by root n only. So basically n plus root n minus 1. So if you multiply, we get n plus n minus root n divided by root n, which is 2n minus root n by root n. If we take the root n common, just 2 root n minus 1. So basically we remove the constant, we don't consider this. For the big O notation, we take this part only. So we say this is big O of root n. These number of comparisons we have to make for time complexity. The auxiliary space, we are using step and priv as a two variable, but they are constant. So basically that is big O of 2, which is similar to big O of 1, the constant value. The space complexity of n, it's the same, the array size we are taking, that only space we are taking, otherwise the space is constant. The jump search algorithm, it's better than linear search because it was using O of n. Here we use O of root n, but it is less efficient than binary search, which uses log n. But if it is not efficient than binary search, then why do we need that? Okay, so when we need jump search algorithm is basically if we have the data divided in multiple chunks, or like we are looking for a sequential files where binary search is not feasible. We can't actually have the start and end to get the mid. Or if we, let's say the RAM size of our system is 1 GB, but the file size is the sorted array or list that we have, the size of that list is, let's say, 20 GB. Then how do we load all the data in RAM and then find the mid using binary and all? That won't be feasible. There we use jump search algorithm. Basically we can divide our data in multiple blocks, then take those blocks in the RAM, then we check the last index of that block if the value is existing in this block or not, or skip that block. So rather than comparing all the values, we can load some values inside RAM, we compare them and then process. That would be much better and feasible to implement rather than binary search algorithm. So that's why jump search algorithm is needed. So we'll just do one last thing. Jump search algorithm works on sorted arrays. It was developed in 1978. It uses fixed step. There are other variations of jump search algorithm too. Rather than using a single, we can use two level. In two level, rather than when we find the block, then we use linear search. In two level, we can use jump search only. So basically we find the block using jump search. Then within that block also we again apply jump search algorithm. Or we can use variable size blocks. So in some cases, it would be more feasible to, rather than keeping the block size fixed of some value, let's say root n, which is optimal value, we can keep it variable. So based on the distribution of numbers that we have or distribution of data we have in the array or linked list, we can change the size of block. So if that performs better based on the heuristic we have, we can use that. So we'll end this here. If this video helped you in any way, consider subscribing to my channel, and If you need anything else, if you want to learn something else in computer science, just comment it down. I will make sure I will help you out in that. Thank you.